I may have to interpret.
That's what I am.
I'm going to call the meeting at 5:30. I just want to read the recognition. We would like to begin by acknowledging the treaty territories of the Anishinaabe, which is defined within the pre-Confederation treaty known as the London Township Treaty of 1796. Throughout time, this region has also become the current home to the Haudenosaunee and Lenape nations. I just need a motion for completion and acceptance of the agenda. Somebody move that. John is going to move it. Deputy Mayor is going to second it. All those in favor? Any disclosures of pecuniary interest? There are none. So we'll move to approval of the previous minutes, which have been circulated. Is anyone prepared to move those? Moved by Gary Bezaire, seconded by Mayor Grantham. All those in favor? And that is completed. Thank you very much. We have one communication, which is the City of London Council resolution appointing, I think it's appointing Kathleen Savoy as our newest tenant member of the board. I had the pleasure of interviewing Kathleen and enjoyed that very much. And we're now very happy to have you on the board. So I just want to say welcome on behalf of all of us. We like having tenant representation on the board. It is important to us. And you're an equal. You're an absolute equal in terms of all board members, except for me. No, I mean, for everyone. So really, it'll take a while.
Watch out or I'll call you the emperor.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
It'll take a little while to catch on to all the various things we do, but we'll help you as much as we can. But
Awesome.
really, it's a sincere welcome
I really appreciate it.
on behalf
Thank
of the
you.
board. So do you want to say anything?
I
Or-
just look forward to learning a lot,
Fantastic.
really.
And just for the record, I'm really more Darth Vader. He's down.
Oh, okay.
There are no delegations or presentations. So the first, we'll go to the consent agenda, and the first staff report is 2023-52, which is the CEO report. Paul, anything you want to add to that report?
No, just, I think just highlight, just the last two items on the report, the interfaith homes, transition, for some members of the LMCH board sitting on the, directors on that board is underway, as well as LMCH assuming property management services on that. We are only a few weeks in, so we're looking at budgets, we're doing planning, so there's lots of work happening. So we'll provide a more fulsome update on the impact to LMCH at a later date, once we sort of put contracts in place to determine what that is going to be. And I think just there's lots of work to do from a governance perspective, and we're keeping that separate from LMCH board, but just from a property management perspective, we'll keep this board informed. And I think just highlighting the power disruption we had at 85 Walnut, which was a significant event where we were replacing corridor panels. And you know, the intent of replacing the corridor panels was so they wouldn't fail. And then when they were the as-built conditions were unexpectedly difficult for the contractor, so they took an additional 8 hours to address those panels for I think 70 some odd units affected. So we provided supports during the period, and we're following up with grocery gift cards in case people had spoiled food and things like that. But it just highlights the delicate nature of our infrastructure should it fail. It just sort of speaks to we just need to be more prepared for these future events, as well as continue investing in the electrical infrastructure.
Thank you very much. So if I get a mover and seconder for the report, and then we'll open things up for questions. Shelley will move it and Don will second it. Questions for Paul on his report?
Just one, what are we doing to be proactive for those types of issues?
Well, it was exactly what we did. We went out, we've done an electrical assessment. We've identified which electrical panels need to be replaced, and we've engaged a contractor to sort of work through the priority list. This is not our first building to do this, but this is the first building with issues. So I think with the contractor, we're going to spend a little more time exploring the as-built conditions to make sure we don't run into this again. Because the issue is we're putting new panels in old holes, and we have to recut how we put them in the concrete, and the cable, well, you know, the ability to connect to the current cable was the issue. So it just reminded us that even though buildings look the same, and they were supposed to be built the same, they may not be built exactly the same. So the contractor is taking that under advisement. It will continue to monitor that and add to the risk for the project.
Thanks. And then, so who's following up to make sure tenants are okay with the grocery cart and stuff like that?
Could I get an update, Trevor?
Yeah, so the tenant engagement or tenant administration side is the one that's leading that process.
Okay.
Amanda David is the person that's leading it. It's awesome. She and I have been working very closely. I got an update from her this morning, and she said approximately half the people that we deemed that Paul said in his report, about 70 people or 70 units were impacted, and about half those people have been engaged and received the cards, and we're continuing to do door knocks. And there's heard Amanda's team has office hours at the building.
Yeah.
They're availing themselves and letting people know to come down and pick up their cards as well.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
Anything else, in terms of questions? All right, so we've moved and seconded, all those in favor? Thank you very much. Next staff report is 2023-53, which is the vacancy management update report. Andrea, anything you want to add to the report?
Through you, Chair, I'll just quickly identify. So we're still trending well for the fall. We're making headway. Property services actually exceeded their target for unit restorations for the month of September with 38 that were made ready, and they are now sitting in the month of September with 81 units in market restoration, which is about the lowest that that number's been in about 15 months. So that's pretty good work, and want to recognize the staff out in the field who are continuing to push to move those units through the restoration process to make them available. And then on my side, tenant placement continues to do a really important and great job in getting the units rented, and they're out about 16 days now to get a unit committed. So I'm really happy with where the numbers are. They're not, we're still not exactly at the target, but we're moving in that direction with the goal to find them to be happy and taking the questions.
You had something there?
Yeah, just I think one point that's not in the report is, we divide our work by portfolio. We have 3 portfolio teams. And so when we break down these numbers internally, we see that 2 of our 3 portfolios are really close to the target, like 1 or 2 units off, which would be 22 units each type of thing. And there's 1 portfolio that has 2 buildings that we know are a challenge. So the vast majority of our portfolio is on target. We have 2 buildings with high vacancy numbers that we have already identified and been working on. So I think we're, appreciate the work of the staff in those to sort of work through and get on these vacancies. And just, when we look at the finer print of the numbers, you're not seeing, it does seem that 2 out of 3 portfolios are hitting their numbers. So we're confident in our target. Is the key message.
Somebody prepared to move in second.
Just a quick check.
Oh, yeah, we'll go to questions. We'll move it at second, and then we'll go to questions.
Okay, yep.
Moved by Shelley, seconded by Gary. All right, going to questions, Mayor Grantham?
Yeah, sorry, Jerry.
That's okay, no problem.
I just highlighted the 10 units on item number 2, the 10 units that are vacant or undergoing restoration for fire. I have no idea, just question, is that a high number, a low number, or is it up that? I just, for some reason, I highlighted that just because I saw why.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, sure. Through the chair. Thank you for the question. That's a significant number, and that's all at one site.
Okay.
I sent an email out a number of months ago, I think, while Paul was away, just to identify that we've had a fire at one of our buildings.
Okay.
And it wasn't that they were impacted by fire, it was the water damage through the subsequent units. So yeah, and those units were all still being managed by the insurance claim.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Shelley?
Yes, through the chair. Thank you. I'm just wanting to hear a little bit more about the units in the 61 to 90 and the 91 plus days. I know that this has been really a sensitive topic for both the public and council in the past, and I'm wondering, where's that at? Are there extra efforts to bring that number down or maintain a lower number in that category? It's a long time to get units restored, and I know with some of the more damaged units, that's a reasonable amount of time, but like anybody that saw this without the backstory would think, what the heck?
Yep. And thank you. Through the chair, I don't have the details of that, but I do know from conversation on the, at least one of the sites we're challenged with, that the combination of unit damage and pest control is slowing down the process, so that every time we go to work in the unit, there's a reinfestation of pests. So it's one of the adult buildings, and there has a cluster of 8 or 9 units that are vacant, and it's been a challenge, and sort of yes, the as lived conditions from the prior tenants is making it very difficult to clear for pests and complete the renovations in a whole bunch of those units. So that will make up some of those. And I can make sure that Christine's prepared for future kind of conversation on this, because it is a focus to reduce the number of units at that plus 60 day. And we've creeped back up, but I know we have 2 sites that are causing us an issue on that. So.
Well, no, John?
I guess just to kind of add to that, I'm wondering, I think I've mentioned this before, is there a way to add context to those units where there's these unique situations in the data, or to organize and track things so we can have a better understanding of the, the nature behind it?
Well, I mean, I would recommend that we sort of move to a different reporting on that, and maybe just do a standard, a separate flow to the tenant service committee that has a little more detail. Because the challenge I think we have is to produce this report for the board meeting. We only have a few days with the data. Yeah. So we can continue to bring more in depth to the tenant service committee, and we can prep staff for some of those answers. But we're on a monthly report. If there's a risk of spending more time just preparing the report than addressing the issues. So we're trying to balance that out.
I'm wondering, does it make sense to do it monthly? Is that much changing monthly that the board needs to be aware? Is it significant, or is there a way to like highlight significant things monthly and then just do a bi-monthly report? Does that make, I don't know, not pretending to know, practically, does that make sense from an employee level to do that?
Sorry, through the chair. I think for my purposes, right, because there's 2 of us that prepare the report for the work that my staff do, it's easy enough for me to collate the data on a monthly basis. But as you can see over the course of even the last year, there's not a significant fluctuation for tenant placement with the offering of units. There may be the odd month where we're a little bit sort of in the yellow. We might miss the target by 1 or 2 units. Yeah. It might be worthy of a larger conversation for the property services side with unit restoration about whether or not there's a different way for us to report right on that side. Awesome.
Thank you.
Shelley, go
ahead. Yeah, through the chair. Given the intense focus on this as a metric to the organization's success, that might be something to consider in the future, but until we're consistently seeing us hitting those target numbers, I think monthly is probably more appropriate.
John, you have something?
Yeah. I just want to know, are we focused strategically on the easiest repairs first? So and then contracting out the more complex ones to try to like get those easy wins so that we can get people off the wait list, and are we proactively connecting people to transition into the housing when we think it's going to be done? Are we setting up leases, connecting with people on the wait list to try to like, align with the time that the unit's going to be repaired? Or are we waiting until it's repaired and then trying to find people and contact them? Or are there things in motion that are doing that?
Through the chair, for right now, tenant placement is still waiting until the unit is actually confirmed ready to rent.
Okay.
Because we've had some problems with pest control, and so we don't want to start offering the unit early in advance of it being actually cleared and ready to go, because we don't want to then impact somebody if they're coming from shelter and they've made arrangements through Ontario Works, Ontario Disability to get funding and potentially organize for movers, and then we have to sort of backtrack on that. So until we are confident that the unit is actually going to go, we haven't started offering it yet. But we're still usually able to, as the data shows, like for my team, we're still able to get a commitment within 16 days from the date it's need rent ready. So we rent early, we try to entice individuals, because we'll waive rent as well to get people to come from other landlords early. We can do that for up to 60 days. We try a variety of things. I don't know, I can't speak to John, the focus for the property services side for how they're planning out the restoration. That I don't know if Paul really has anything further, if that's something you want to take back for Chris to address.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Something to add, Paul?
I will take back to make sure Christine provides a fulsome answer to this at the next meeting. But they do the assessment of what's needed at unit turnover. And it's easy to identify whether it's just staff doing it, whether you're gonna have staff plus like a painter and one like minor vendors, or whether you're contracting out because it's like it's in a major situation. So that like it needs a lot of repair for drywall, or it needs a new kitchen or any of that. So they do that work at the beginning. So I think that's that work is being done, and I think we've highlighted in the past, clearing for pests takes time, and debris removal takes time. The reality of our unit turnovers is when the tenant leaves, they don't take much with them. So we're responsible for the contents of their apartment. So therefore, the combination of pests and debris removal will add, I think it's in the report from the property services side attached to this. They have timelines where they say, here's the timelines that it will take to do this type of work on average, 30 days or a number of weeks for a minor turn if there's big issues and whatnot. So if we can reference that, but it may be a discussion with unfortunately Christine not being able to be here today. We maybe want to just defer that to the next tenant services meeting to have that discussion. I think in November, if I remember correctly. So sure. So there is that report there that sort of lays out the general time frame. And we do try to do as much internally as we can, but we recognize we can't do it all. And we try to pass on the more complicated units so that a contractor can get in and move it through the system.
And just as a quick comment to you, Chair, just thinking like if we can use those assessments to figure out what units maybe only need a week's work, and then just prioritize getting those done so we can move people off the wait list and then focus on the heavier stuff after. Out of my hope with that thought. Thank you.
Any further questions on that report?
Close enough, you can hit me tonight. So I'm
I
gonna
will
stop
not,
there.
I would never. So we'll just, it's been moved in second, so all those in favor, information. So we'll move on to reports and business. We have a package of tenant services committee reports for information. John, what's your committees? Do you have anything you wanted to say to introduce that set of reports?
Yeah, I just think the community engagement, again, like just commend that. I think it's great. It just shows how much the employees care about the community, and I love that those things are happening. Wondering, I know that there were surveys done with tenants, and I'm just wondering if it's possible to maybe the future date just share some of the feedback with the board, not just the positive, but all of it, just to get a comprehensive understanding of that. And the community as a practice, it says that staff are engaged. I'm wondering if that includes frontline employees or if it's only management that are attending those.
Sorry, which one? Sorry.
The communities of practice.
Those are right now, focused on management.
Okay,
In the past, we have done through that same group.
Yeah.
So the frontline staff bringing them together. So that community practice is really just getting back up and running after the COVID hiatus.
Yep.
So that was the plan. And we tried that last year, but we just, with COVID still happening, it didn't work. So that is a future intent
okay, great.
to bring teams together. And it's broken down by functional area right now. So that there's, we can sort of get a better understanding of what challenges different sectors, different types, different parts of the organization are having. So we can better sort of coordinate what they may talk about if they do get together, frontline staff, and work together.
Awesome. Yeah, because I think they're gonna have some of the most realistic perspectives about things that are happening and be able to inform everyone. So I think that's great to hear. If anyone has any questions, I'm here. Other than that, that's all I.
Okay, so why don't we get the package, the entire package of reports, moved and seconded, moved by Gary, is there seconded by, Shelley? So they're all moved as a package. The only thing is, Paul will be dealing with the maintenance KPI report if you have any, questions. So, questions for anyone on any of these reports? Go ahead, Derek.
More so just a comment about the rugby ball. Andrew, your staff have been involved in that for 20 years now, and that program is getting so much better, and your staff's amazing. So I know like on the night, the cameras are there and there's Twitter and all that, but like leading up to that, like, these people are doing such great work. So thank you for that. I know the police lead it, but your staff really is amazing with that. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And whoever got Shane shirt back to school, that's awesome. That's great.
Do you have any autographed ball caps?
Yeah.
Cool, okay.
Anything further, questions, comments on any of the reports? All right, it's been moved and seconded, so all those in favor? Those reports are approved as a package. I have no new business or inquiries, so I just need a motion to go in camera. Someone prepared to move that? Oh, sorry, what? All right,
We still have reports,
where?
2357 and 2358 that require.
Oh, I did them all as a package.
Okay,
They're all included for information. We just moved them all.
no, sorry, the F and G are for approval.
All right, so it didn't say, it just says for information, so.
Yeah.
Let's go back and separate 10 F and G. So I need a motion and seconder for approval of those matters. Moved by Shelley, seconded by John. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Thank you. As I indicated, there's no new business or inquiries. I need a motion to go in camera. Shelley, moved by Shelley, seconded by John. All those in favor? All right, we have 2 in-camera items tonight. As indicated, the first is